Welcome to episode 69 of Pineapples and Thorns. I'm Kat, and tonight I'm joined by Fado. Hey, Fado.
Howdy.
Welcome. And we have some very special guests with us tonight. We have HoldMyBeer, aka HMB, and Joel, both formerly of a clan called AxeYouSomethin, and they are managers of pro teams such as War and Glory, among others. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
So let's dive right into this, and you can tell us a little bit about your Clash history, where you started playing, what town halls you played. HMB, do you want to go first?
Sure. I started AxeYouSomethin with a bunch of my friends in 2012. So a really long time ago. I actually was playing the game by myself on, I want to say iOS format was the first to come out. I played on it for some time with just random people, and I got my friends into it when I think Android was second when I went to move to the Android market. And we formed AxeYouSomethin, which was just, a bunch of friends in the Philadelphia market. There was like 20 of us that were just friends of friends and friends of friends type thing. I think that's pretty much how anybody gets into Clash of Clans. Either they start playing and they recruit their friends, or vice versa. Their friends recruited them and started the clan. Played for probably a good solid year and a half, 2 years before CWL came about. I still remember seeing the first broadcast of that championship, and I was just like, yo, this is, my friends and I were excited. We got to do this. We got to get into the competitive side. And that, that's just kind of where the path started for me, is in when that happened. And here I am 8 years later, still involved in this little mobile game.
And are you still actively playing Clash, or are you more on the management side of things now?
Ironically, you said when you introduced us, I was AxeYouSomethin, which turned into Lost Meta Gaming, which was then sponsored by Space Station. So I kind of moved our ways up the ranks. At which point, once all that started happening, I was never a player on the caliber that was good enough to play in the pro level. I just kind of moved over to the management side at that point, and stopped really playing competitive. And for the most part, honestly, I sort of put the game down. I would just kind of do YOLO Legend stuff on the side, just to there's something to do. But over the last year, since I've been in the competitive Clash network, which is, we can maybe talk about later in the show, I've picked the game back up, and AxeYouSomethin is sort of alive again, which is ironic. It's come full circle. It's just a for fun clan now, where we do a war from time to time. We do clan war leagues. We take capital raids pretty seriously, and some of my friends have actually found the game again as well, and we're just enjoying ourselves over there on the casual side. But obviously, I'm still waist deep in the pro side as well, as far as managing and working with Joel on the competitive Clash network.
Awesome. Joel, how about you? You want to give us a little bit of your Clash history?
Yeah, so I think I started playing Clash. I'm trying to think, it would be. I don't have the very first Christmas tree, but I have all the other Christmas trees. So I think it was 2013 is when I started playing, probably spring of 2013. And I found the game. I can't remember how I found the game. I think it was there was a Super Bowl ad or something, and I just installed it on my iPad and started playing it. Randomly found somebody else, through global chat. Rip global chat. I found this clan called D Nation, which still exists today and is still run by the same guy who started it way back in 2013. Shout out to DC if he listens to the pod. And it was a fun clan. We did a bunch of stuff and played a bunch of wars. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember why we got noticed, but we got noticed by Ash. Out of nowhere. I can't remember why. He came to our clan and did a video on some attacks that we did. And then he brought us back to whatever clan he was in at the time and got us into, and we were like, this is cool. You guys are doing competitive Clash. I want to get into this. And then I applied to, what did I apply to? Northwatch. I applied to Northwatchers. And I still sucked, so I didn't get in. But it lit a fire, and I was like, I didn't get in because we weren't leveled well. I think I was a 2020 hero Town Hall 10. It was a nightmare. and like, but I grinded, and I got into I think it's like 2 months later, I was fully maxed out Town Hall 10, and I got into Cold September.
I remember that.
And I played in CWL Season 2 with Cold September. And then I got into playing with, what did I go from there? I went to Bad Intentions, played in Bad Intentions with Fado. And then when that kind of went in a weird way, I joined AxeYouSomethin. Played with HMB for a good long time, and then we got into the deep. I also was like, I wasn't after like Town Hall 11. After that, I was not good enough to play in the pro scene, so I kind of had to bow out after Town Hall 11. Town Hall 12, 13, I kind of just wasn't there, so I couldn't keep up, but all good. So I kind of got into the management spot as well, and then lately I've been doing a lot of working on the real back end of stuff, dealing with live stats stuff. So I'm doing a lot of like Clash API work for different streamers and stuff like that. So a lot of the live stats you might see on a stream, that might be coming from me.
Nice.
No, that's neat. Yeah, we wanted to sort of delve into a little bit of, the evolution of how, you guys found your way working as players, and then found your way over to the pro side, and you touched briefly on that. Can you give our listeners a little glimpse into some of the stuff that you both do in terms of the management? Like Joel, you mentioned you do some of the stats work, but HMB, as sort of managing some of the pro players, what is your job? What does it entail?
It's honestly like much easier now than it was back then. Early on, esports, which people that are newer to the game or newer to the esports scene probably didn't know or are not aware that it used to be like 25v or 30v as opposed to 5v5.
Wow.
So, I mean, to be competitive back then, I mean, and Joel can back me on this.
Oh man,
you were coordinating so many people, and like, you would have your war once a week, and you're trying to make sure all 25 or 30 people have new bases, or they've adjusted some bases from like the last time you had an attack. Like, it was like a full-on part-time job.
I mean, I would say between the two of us, just an AxeYouSomethin, on an average like week that we had to war, 20 hours each.
Yeah, easily for one war.
Wow. Yeah. And that's from like, okay, like making sure we had bases. Like some of that's building our own bases, because there wasn't cool places that built your bases for you back in the day. Like if you got them from very illicit places. Or else you were trying to like, we ward these guys. We ward golden goblins. We should steal some of their bases and tweak them, because they might have some decent ones, and it would literally be that's kind of where you got like it was crazy, insane amount of time.
I got one for all the listeners out there, and without using the cheat codes that now exist inside Clash of Clans, pick a base out there and then build it rotated 90 degrees without using the in-game turn left and turn right thing. It takes a long time of going back and forth, looking at a screenshot, watching where the traps were, like, and that's the type of stuff that Joel and I were doing. And, obviously there was other people on our team that were help preparing AxeYouSomethin for wars back then. And I mean, to be fair to the community, I mean, at best, AxeYouSomethin was an okay clan. And like, I mean, we fared well in some leagues and better in other leagues, but we were never, like Dark Looters or any of the top teams that were back then. And we were putting that kind of time in. I can't even imagine the time that those guys were putting in back then.
Yeah, it must have been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, also back then you couldn't drag the walls like you do now, so you had to individually place them.
Yep.
One by one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, we did this row like one tile off. Now we got to throw away about an hour worth of work.
Yep.
I have an extra wall piece. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, the worst was when you would build the base and you didn't realize like that you had screwed up where the walls were and there was not enough space to drop the outside trash buildings and you couldn't rotate the whole thing.
I would say the worst though was if you forgot that the account that you were on building the base didn't have 5 builders.
Oh yeah.
And then the builder was supposed to go in a key spot, like in the center of the base. And now all of a sudden you realize you have a hole in the center of your base and you're freaking out because you have 30 minutes till war and you're like trying to figure out what the heck to do. Yeah, it was always a good time.
Yeah, because there was no cooldown back then. You could just build a base and go. Yeah.
Yep. No, there was a 24-hour cooldown, remember? Or 2-hour cooldown? There was a cooldown between your base. I can't remember what it was.
I don't think it was 24 hours until they did the clan links. Until they did
That's
base
right.
links. But I think it might have been an hour before. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah,
like it is
maybe
now.
that's what it was, an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, it was wild, but I don't miss those days. But anybody who's getting into the Clash of Clans scene now, like you have a much easier path than it used to be back in the day. Managing 30 people, managing 5 people is not all that hard. Also, what was interesting back then, which people wouldn't really understand now, is like you'd recruit a guy on your team, but he would also be like on other teams that were in the same league as you. It was like such a weird thing. Like he would play Town Hall 9 for like AxeYouSomethin, but play Town Hall 10 for another league, another clan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole thing was bizarre too. It'd be kind of like, Gaku playing on Navi for some wars, but Tribe for other wars, but they were in the same tournament. Like it was just so bizarre back then. But it was just the way it was. I mean, this is how the esports scene was back then. It's obviously evolved into more of a team game and individual players playing as 5, which personally for the growth of esports is better. It was just kind of the Wild West when Joel and I were involved in the earlier stages of Clash of Clans esports.
Yeah, it does seem a lot more well organized nowadays, for sure. Speaking of AYS, how many of your old AYS members are still involved in the Pro Clash scene, either with your team or other teams?
I think at this point now it's 0. John was really the last one that was from that era that played with AxeYouSomethin. Maybe Boone, I guess, because Boone played with AxeYouSomethin his last year because Powercock had slowed down once those guys stopped playing as much, I guess. So Boone's still somewhat involved in the scene because he does play Mobile Open.
Yep.
So big shout out to Boone, awesome guy.
So, do you guys have like a favorite memory of your time from back then in Clash of Clans? Not necessarily from right now, but like back in the good old days, quote unquote.
I would say my favorite times were I used to do hit ups, Town Hall 10, Town Hall 10 up, hit up on Town Hall 11s for 2 stars. Being on voice for like 5 hours planning a single hit.
Friday nights, man.
Friday nights planning those hits as soon as war started, getting those plans together. Those were some of the best times in Clash. It was like everybody's on there, and then when you hit one of those Town Hall, especially with a good percentage, like it was like you hit the lottery. It was a crazy time, and it was a really fun time to be in part of Clash. That's probably my favorite memories.
HMB?
For me, like kind of like what Joel was saying, but I wasn't doing the hit ups or anything like that, but having like, the Friday night war and you'd have, 10, 12 guys on voice chat. Obviously we weren't all hitting back to back. Some of us were scouting for others, but just shooting the shit and just like the camaraderie that, came along with it, which was, I think pretty much the glue that held this game together. Because I'm sure we all remember too. I think Town Hall 11 was around for way too long. I think it was like a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. I can't remember how long Town Hall 11 was around before Town Hall 12. And the game got long in the tooth, but what didn't get long in the tooth was the friendships that we developed and like being on voice with all those guys. And I don't really have one particular moment that I would say was like, hey, I'll never forget that. But it was just like, I really did look forward to like the Friday evenings with the boys on the voice chat and just playing a little bit of Clash of Clans and, having some fun. So,
Nice.
Yeah. And I can just add a little to that, Mark. That Discord server was never not entertaining.
Oh yeah. We had the greatest cast of characters in that server, man.
Shout out to Fish, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Fish for sure.
I don't know who's funnier, was like Fish, or if you remember when Max came onto our server. And like that dude, like we just had like the wildest. That was the thing was about actually something is like, and it's, even to this day, like there was a lot of people that we brought in that other people were like, oh, that guy's a jerk off or whatever it may be. Like, you don't want him. And I played Discord and I played Clash of Clans the same way I played my life. As if if someone is good to me, like I'll give them the opportunity, and if they decide that like they want to be that guy, then like they're not welcome in actually something or wherever I'm involved in. And we took it. I mean, because of that, I mean, a lot of people like enjoyed the environment that we had, and I mean, we got some characters, Fado, and I was happy to have you in the server and Kat and Joel. I mean, we brought Licks in there. I mean, I think Licks spent the better part of like 6 months writing an entire AYS.
We're going to talk about that.
The fan fiction, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that channel still exists on the server, by the way.
It does.
I'll never delete that.
I just start giggling thinking back to some of the antics on that server. There was one time Joel helped me get a bot in that would just respond to Fish anytime I just had like random comments. I fed it, so anytime Fish posted, it would auto respond with something, just sassing Fish.
I remember that. Oh my gosh, that's gold.
That's funny. Maybe if we could set something like that up in the Red Thorn.
No, I could probably find the code. It was super easy.
It's not hard, actually. It's pretty easy.
We could set it up for certain people.
Who would we do it to? It'd
Carol?
be Magnus. It would be Magnus.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you'd have to do it to Magnus, man. Every single time he posts it, just post something. Oh man.
He'd leave the server. Oh my god.
we can't lose Magnus, so that's the thing. So yeah,
He's a good sport.
Magnus, yeah.
Oh, Magnus, yeah, Magnus.
He'd find it hilarious, probably.
He
Actually,
probably would. But Fish was the perfect foil for that. The griller of meats. I think that became his Discord name. He's like Fish, griller of meats, because he'd post these pictures of stuff he smoked, of stuff. It was just crazy good looking food. Oh,
There's a few people like that in the CFF. Like, I think it's Night of Knee. He used to post in food porn all the time.
Yeah, food porn is killing me lately. Some of the stuff people are posting, it's like, I just eat like a pauper. I mean, these people, the food they post is like,
Doc.
Wow. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, veal milanese. I was like, that looked incredible.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Worlds, because that's upcoming. HMB, you're going to Worlds this year. You want to talk to us a little bit about the process? It's a huge time commitment. What's your role leading up to traveling to Helsinki?
My role is going to be super fan over there. The process of getting there was a little strenuous for me, for the fact that it's taking place during Thanksgiving in the United States, and obviously that's a family time. I'm married. I have a child. I wasn't able to go last year for one reason or another. It just didn't really work out in our schedule. And this year, I mean, I asked my wife, expecting her to tell me that there was no way I was going. And she was like, hey, if you want to go, you can go. But then the offset was, we have to do something a little elaborate for Christmas. So the wife and I and my son are going away for 10 days at Christmas that kind of make up for me going to Helsinki. But I'm really looking forward to the opportunity. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've been speaking with Discord for, 5-6 years that I've really looking forward to meet in person. There's a lot of people that I met when I was in Poland a year ago for an event, and I've met a bunch of the people from the NA scene over the last couple of years. So I'm just really looking forward to getting over there and actually like getting to see what these people are like in person. And honestly, like over the last 5 years, I've met 50 or 60 clashers in person, and I really haven't had a bad experience. I'm just really, really, really looking forward to like, meeting the guys from Asia and some of the guys from the EU that I have yet to meet. I'm expecting good times and just, having a blast while I'm over there doing it.
Yeah, every time I've seen, the video from those events, that just looks like an amazing time. Joel, do you get to go?
I do not get to go.
Aw.
No. No. That would not
Sad
be
face.
that's not me. maybe one day. But yeah, no, I don't get to go. It's all good though.
So, Beer, you have over your Clash life hosted people at your place. Was that just during AYS or was that Lost? It was also with Lost Meta, wasn't it?
Yeah. I live in the Philly area, so I've had people come in since AYS, then Lost Meta, and then the last one we had was Space Station, which is prior to like the land starting up, like with San Diego and then just recently Seattle. Probably one of the largest Clash meetups in the NA. I mean, my wife loved it, but we had 19 people at our house for a for a barbecue / yard games, and we did a little bit of clashing, and and overall it was just a great social event. So yeah, I did that once a year for I want to say 4 or 5 years. I mean, even longer than that because some of them were smaller. Obviously during COVID we still did it too. Like I had John came down and you guys may remember Gum. He doesn't live too far away from me. So the two of them came down, and Brad Piff, who was an old school Reddit Omega guy, lives like 5 minutes from my house. Still friends with him to this day. Shout out to him if he ever hears this podcast. Yes, I mean, it's just Clash has become something that's for me more than just a game. Like I've made a lot of friends out of it and continue to make a lot of friends out of it. It's always an interesting thing. Like when my I don't want to say regular friends or real life friends, people that I've just known for years, or my soccer friends or things like that, and I talk about Clash of Clans and like, oh, I remember that game, and like they'll meet some of my other friends. I'm like, oh, I knew him through Clash. They're like, you met him through Clash? Like it's so funny. Like when people like they look at me like I have two heads, but like ironically, like John has been a personal friend for his wife is friends with my wife. We were at each other's weddings, and we met on Global Chat. Bring it back, Darian. Bring back Global Chat.
Yeah, bring back Global Chat, man.
Friends for life made on there.
Oh my God, that is hilarious! Like, so what was it that first impressed you about John? His casual like swearing.
I'm a pretty much a no nonsense guy. Like some people would tell me I have the patience of a god, because I was able to deal with Chiku and Jethro for so many years. And there was this guy named Chris who was a German guy who was, I can't remember the clans he played for. I always enjoyed Chris, but there was other people who were like, you're not going to be able to put up with that guy. I have a ton of patience, but John is always just like, was always my partner in crime when we were doing league negotiations back in the day. And he would just be like, cut the shit with anybody when we were like doing negotiations, and I was always like, it was good cop, bad cop, so we played so well off each other. And then like when we had our first meetup, like it was like we'd known each other forever. Like we were just actual friends. Like at this point, like I mean, he actually visited me 2 weeks ago, and I don't even think we talked about Clash of Clans. Like at this point, like he's living his life, I'm living my life. Yeah, Clash is still part of it, but it's not for him. So we have other things to talk about. I mean, like legit, we're just friends for life. We went on vacation together to Miami a couple of years ago, and it's so interesting in this game where like Fado, I've been talking to you for years, Kat as well, and Joel, and then like there's just so many memories and like times we shared with each other that like you just don't forget over the years. And I know there's so many other people that have played this game and they feel the same way about their old clan members and current clan members. It's really it is the beauty of Clash of Clans, and it's the reason it's been around for 12, 13 years, whatever it is these days, and it will continue to be around just because there's just people that just enjoy casually playing with one another, and like they've developed a friendship with the game. And the same for me, and I'm sure Joel could probably say the same for him.
No, 100%. Yep. I've actually never met anyone from Clash in person though. Not many. A lot of people live in the Midwest, but we just never really. I missed the one. There was a giant Clash meetup in Chicago.
Yeah,
2016, 2017, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't go.
Was that one of the Clash Live events?
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
and I couldn't go, so I missed out. But
yeah, I went to the one in Vegas. I think that was the last one they had. I met Pirate Potter and that whole group.
Right. I remember that. I remember that event.
Yeah, it was an interesting event. I had a great time out there, but it was, interestingly enough, just what I said a few minutes ago. It was the same. Like, great people, had a lot of fun. Don't remember everybody's name, but anyone who listens, was a pleasure meeting you. I mean, it was just a blast. Like, Clashers in general, like we all seem to have one thing in common, which is this mobile game. But the reality is the more we get to know each other, like we have a lot more in common in life than just this little game. And it's been fun. I'm really looking forward to Worlds for that. Circling back into your question, Fado, of meeting people from the Asian scene that I've been speaking to for so long. I mean, when would I have another opportunity to meet so many guys from that part of the world that play Clash of Clans at one time other than Worlds? And I just, as a fan of the game, a fan of Clash of Clans esports, a fan of the camaraderie that comes with the game, I just felt like I couldn't miss it. I got to be there. And, my wife understands my passion for this game and, my passion for this community and esports. And, that's part of the reason why she was like, wait, why don't you just do it? Because she knows how much it means to me.
Oh, that's great, having that support. So do you you want to take a little bit of time, Joel and Mark, to talk about the competitive Clash network? What is its mandate and how did you come up with the idea for it? Joel, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so actually I didn't come up with it. But Beer brought me in probably it would be 6 months ago, Beer? Probably 7 months ago.
Yeah, actually how it really went down, Joel's correct. What really went down is I had this vision for kind of like what the competitive Clash network is now. I formed it with Christine the Mean, who's no longer in the Clash scene, and Lord Peter, who is sort of in the Clash scene, to have a competitive server, a server that had all of the information on it for the competitive scene. And I've always felt like very passionate about Clash of Clans competitive sports since Lost Meta, Space Station, and I mean, Fado, I would just throw it at you. You haven't been in the esports scene in a long time, but if you were looking for a tournament, where's the first place you look? And the answer is probably Twitter. You're going to troll through and see what leagues are coming up and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it was my vision, like, to have one server where anyone who wants to play Clash of Clans esports could go to. They could get quick and fast information about like current leagues, upcoming leagues, have a way to recruit players. And then like once the stat thing started coming in, that was with Dolik, and a huge shout out to him. Much of what competitive Clash network has become would not be there without Dolik. But like I've known Joel for feels like a decade, I guess, probably 8 years. And like I know he lives in this space, and I know like stats are his thing. So like, not really knowing Dolik to start out, like I just kind of wanted somebody that like I had like a long-standing respect and trust for, which was Joel. Just to kind of throw eyes on the things that we were doing, and if it made sense, if I was asking questions that were ridiculous, because like I'm not a developer, I don't know how all this stuff works. I just sit around and drink coffee in the morning and think, wow, that'd be cool if the community could have this. And then I throw it at Dolik and he comes up with it. But for a while, I'd be like, Joel, do you think this is possible? And, sometimes yes, sometimes no. And, and sometimes my ideas were bad. And it's, not every idea is a winner. But, that's how Joel, I've known him for so long, trusted him so long. And so he was an integral part for me just to even have eyes on it. But like Joel said, like the last 6 months, like we can kind of get more into it, where Joel's, him and Dolik are hand in hand working on probably one of the biggest things that's ever come to Clash of Clans esports. And I'm super proud to be part of it. It's really just my ideas, but the two of them are like making it happen. Not that, Joel and Dolik obviously are contributing with their ideas and their input on it. But just so many things that we've kind of seen from other successful esports, whether it's CSGO or Valorant or other sports like that, where we've looked at it, what they've brought to their esports community and what we could do from the competitive Clash network to like bring something to the community that we're super proud of, and it's good for the growth of the sport and growth of like new players. Because I mean, once World's over, you're going to see every year there's always people that are retiring. And, you know, if the competitive Clash network, meaning like Joel and Dolik and myself and everybody else that's on our staff, can't make a friendly home for like new players that are trying to get into the game, to how to compete, how to find a place to compete, how to find a teammate. And that's what the core goal of CCN has always been. And I know Joel believes in it, and I know that Dolik believes in it, and Ronnie believes in it. You know, we love this game, and we want it to continue for years and years to come. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is just to make like the ease of entry that much easier for anyone who wants to get into it. Because we all know it's a grind to get to your competitive level in a town hall, but like once you're there, like, you know, I don't care where you are, whether you're in the US, EU, you know, Asia, it's people don't know where to go. I mean, they may find one league and then they're in this Discord server and then they go to that Discord server. We've actually really created a home where, like, if you want to compete, like there's at any given time 5 or 6 leagues that are about to start. You know, if you're watching, like you're a fan, and believe it or not, like it used to make me like chuckle a little bit that there was people that were actual legit fans of Clash of Clans teams. But, you know, the game's 12, 13 years old. And like, you know, people like have been following it for 7 or 8 years. Like now they're actual is fans in this game. And it's just beautiful thing just to see like what's become of the game. And like, if Joel and myself and the rest of the guys at the CCN team can make it a little bit better for everybody else coming in, like that's our goal.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot of it's just like getting visibility on what's even possible. Because like, who's streaming right now? How do you find that? How do those streamers get better information? Like our goal eventually is like essentially become ESPN for Clash of Clans. I think that's kind of like a good like mentality around it. Like being able to deliver live stats. Be able to deliver, like, tell you who exactly is streaming right now, what wars are they streaming, be able to deliver that all real time is kind of like is not only a goal, but we're actually doing it right now. So that's something that you can go on the bot right now and find out what wars are coming up, who's streaming them, and then soon we're going to be actually launching our website, which will actually be public, and you'll be able to actually see like all that information. So that's what I'm working on, is actually building out the website with the backing of Dolik, who builds all of our like back-end bot stuff and database type stuff, and building all the relationships with all the leagues to get all their data. So it's quite an undertaking, but I think it's going to be really cool, and I think people are going to really like it.
So, Kat, I think we need to stop like chasing Joel down to do his hits in the rated and just let him do this awesome cool stuff.
I'm going to feel really guilty now every time I tag you.
Yeah, I mean, we had this vision, and just to piggyback on what Joel was saying, to be able to imagine like yourself, Fado and Kat, you're like, hey, like I'm a Clash of Clans fan. Like I'd like to, you know, I have the afternoon off. I'd like to watch some Clash. But like clearly, like there's no way anyone follows every streamer.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And through the competitive Clash network and our abilities, like you could just like log into our server and see what streams are upcoming. And like, I mean, it's literally showing you 30, 40, 50 different streamers in different languages, different formats, whether it's Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. There's even some Chinese formats that I'm not even familiar with, Bill, which is coming up through Theus. Like, there's all kinds of different formats that like you may or may not have looked at. But if you're a fan of Clash of Clans and you have an afternoon off and you're like, hey, and I'm just going to have a beer and sit here and watch this, or a tea and watch this, like, where would you have gone before? The answer is nowhere. I mean, there's no way you could ever know what's going on in 9 or 10 different leagues at one time. And,
For sure.
and Joel and Dolik were able to bring this, like, hey, there's an upcoming war and this is streaming it. Like, and you want to just, hey, like I'm a big fan of Navi, or I'm a big fan of Tribe Gaming. I don't want to miss a war. You can just look on their page and see when their upcoming wars are and who's streaming it. Like we've just really brought another level of professionalism to the Clash of Clans esports scene that has been lacking. And I really think that we've become like a hub and a database for streamers, fans, players, managers, kind of everything, like to really just push the game forward. And like Joel said, when this website goes live, like it's just going to be next level for the guys.
Yeah, it's really amazing, like, you know, to think, because if you have your average player that maybe isn't familiar with the all the different streamers, where would they go, right?
Well, the funny thing is too, because Kat, you managed for a little while, did you not? Like, did you like do some Town Hall 9 leagues or anything like that? Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't remember so if you remember back then, like everything was in like a random spreadsheet, and you had to scroll like through pages upon pages, like did who scheduled the war for a time, like there was no there, and then like. I mean, back then, like, we're not going to go down this path, but the streamers used to fight over who was streaming what, and like, there was that drama going on. It was just craziness. But we've kind of like just taken Clash to the next level where like that's behind us, and now it's an esport. It's a legit esport. There's a schedule. There's who's covering it. There's the stats that go with it. All of we're able to provide all of that information just to bring a level of professionalism that needs to be there if this game is going to continue as a esport for years to come. And I'm super proud of the work we're doing. I hope the community loves the work we're doing. And again, it would not be possible without Joel. It would not be possible without Dolik. And just, I couldn't be prouder of this. I mean, like, kind of to me, like, this is sort of the legacy I'm going to leave behind when eventually I do put the game down, is like, hopefully, like, the game's in a better place than it was when I first started playing it. And CCN, honestly, has just become more than I ever thought it would ever be.
A real quick follow-up to that then. So how have you gotten buy-in or participation for this to tie it together? So are you working more with platforms to get their APIs? Or are you going almost league to league or streamer to streamer and say, how can we access your schedules to tie everything together?
Joel, do you want me to answer that, or?
Yeah, you can go ahead and answer that one.
All right, so I'm going to use I'm going to age myself here, but Fado and Kat, you may appreciate it. The Field of Dreams movie, if you build it, they will come. I said that to Dolik a long time ago, that if we start putting something together that is professional, is legit, people will do what we ask them to do. And it comes like Fado and Kat, there's so much that we have in there. I think we're storing something like 600 team logos right now.
Wow.
We're tracking actually 1,500 different teams right now. 600 of them have logos, but we have like 1,500 teams. If I'm not mistaken, we're tracking something like 65,000 wars.
Correct. We've brought a legitimacy to Clash of Clans esports that has made, like I said, if you build it, they will come. I told Dolik, I was like, look, man, like if we can get this and we nail it, and people see it's professional, that people see it's accurate, they're going to want to be a part of it. And Joel can see the tickets, and there's tickets daily. Like, hey, how do I get my clan involved? Hey, how do I get my clan involved? Yep. The leagues are doing the same thing. How can we promote ourselves on your server? Like, what can we do to get involved? And like a huge shout out to honestly like League Utils, which is a league tool that helps organize and schedule league. And the developer of that is Strange, and I believe Dolik works with him as well. Any leagues that work with them are communicating with us, and like it's just been such a seamless application that like we've created a top tier server and a top tier database, whether it's logos, player images, stats, information for leagues, payouts for leagues, rules for leagues. That it's come to the point now that we're at a level where people are asking to be involved with us and not the other way around. So Fado, to answer your question, when it first started, we were reaching out to leagues. Hey, we want to promote your league. What is the information on it? What's the payout? When does your league start? Can I get your Discord server link and all that stuff? And now it's totally the other way around. Like people are letting us like, hey, this league's going to start in like 6 weeks. I want to let you know about it. Like this is going to be our link. This is going to be our artwork. Which is really, when it comes down to it, like the community tournaments for years, and Fado and Kat, I mean, you guys know this is part of being part of the scene for some time. They were fighting with each other for like clout. Like, hey, we're MLCW. Hey, we're CWL. Hey, we're No Dip. And none of them were working together. None of them were. I mean,
they were competing. Yeah,
they were competing.
For sure.
And now we've tried to like make it, hey, like the only way that this game is going to survive and this game is going to grow is if we all work together. And like I feel like we're there. I feel like we're so close to being like everyone gets it. Like CCN is not trying to favor any team. We're not trying to favor any server. We're not trying to favor any league. We're just trying to provide the best possible information for people that want to be involved in Clash of Clans esports. And I wholeheartedly believe all of the leagues understand that. And like that's why they're working with us. And it's, you know, it's honestly a thing of beauty because it just was not like that. Like to start out our podcast, like back in the AxeYouSomethin days, it was not like that. And the game has come full circle. The community's gotten better. The leagues have gotten better. And CCN is just taking all of that together and pushing it forward to the next level. Like I'm super proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, you should be. This is badass.
Yeah, it's really amazing what you guys have put together. And for our listeners, if there are any of our listeners wanting to, join the Discord and get involved, we'll be able to make that information available in the show notes when we post the podcast, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I invite anybody just to check us out. I mean, Joel I'm sure you would say the same thing. Like, just join the server. I mean, we have a general chat that has probably 90% of the pro players in the world on it. You don't even have to chat. Like, check out the channel, see what the upcoming like leagues are. Check some of the stats of your favorite players. Like, just get involved. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, no one at CCN is trying to make anybody out to be somebody they're not. We're just here to like create a great community and push the game forward. I highly recommend anyone who's like thinking about getting into the competitive scene, just dip your toe into our server for a little while and just kind of watch what's going on and take a look at the leagues that are coming up and some of the features we have going and the amazing website that Joel's put together. And I think that there's enough information for there. You can decide it for yourself. Like, do I want to be part of the competitive scene? Am I ready to be part of the competitive scene? All of it's there. We even have recruiting tools because we all know how hard it is to find people. We've tried to think of everything we can to just help you, the semi-casual player, move your game to the competitive level. And, our focus is you, the casual player that's trying to get to the competitive level. Because Joel was there. Mark was there. Well, Beer was there. Fado was there. Kat was there. We were all there at one point. Mm-hmm. And we're providing a tool for you to get from that level to the next. And I highly, highly recommend you just checking out the server.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think we're going to just jump right to shout outs. You guys have really done an incredible job with CCN. And, like you said, here is just join the Discord and check it out. So, Beer, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, my first one's going to be to Joel because when I started the server, I actually was looking back at some chat and like I reached out to him and told him about the server and I was like, I know he was busy with stats and things like that and he's been a friend a long time and he said, hey, I'll jump in there and check it out. So, that was the beginning. That was well before Dolik. Obviously, the second shout out is to Dolik for making the magic happen. He's the wizard of CCN. And I really want to just give a shout out to the entire community. I mean, there's just some characters in this community that just make me love the game so much. They love Discord so much. And, our general chat can get spicy from time to time, but that's what I love about being a part of this community is, people care, people want to compete, people want to razz each other a little bit. It reminds me of the AYS days, Fado and Kat, just giving each other a little bit of a hard time. So just a big shout out to everyone in the community. Because honestly, there's been so many times I thought I'd put the game down, and here I am, 3 years later or 4 years later, just loving it as much as I ever did when I first picked it up a decade ago. And it just wouldn't be possible without this amazing community we have in Clash of Clans. And so there's not just one single person I can shout out from that. It's just the entire community. And thanks, guys.
Awesome. Joel?
Yeah, I'll echo that, but I'll also shout out Beer, just bringing me in, and also being a friend and I'll say colleague for the last probably almost 6 years, doing whether it was Space Station or War and Glory after that. Those sort of things. It was really good fun times with that. Also, I'm gonna shout out. This is really old, but I'm actually gonna shout out Amy. way back in the
Streamer.
day because she is the one that actually got me to do her live stats. She was the first one that I did live stats for. And if she hadn't had me do that, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. Because I probably would have quit Clash completely and not been doing any of the live stats stuff done. So I'm going to shout Amy out for that.
So that scratched your developer itch, and between that and your love of Clash, I mean, that's what kept you in it, huh?
Yeah, and I did work for all the streamers who have done work. They know who they are. I won't name drop them.
Fado, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, of course, obviously to our two great guests. I mean, Mark and Joel, you guys, I've known you guys for years and years. I know we're not in constant touch anymore, but you guys, like, seriously, I was done after BI. And Mark, you guys opened the door for the BI refugees, and I eventually came in, and I wasn't at the level of you guys, but it was awesome to be there anyway. And you've been nothing but just a great dude all along. There was, like, I knew I could self-select out at any time. I didn't want to put pressure on you guys. And you guys never did, even though you could have, over performance, for instance. So you guys were always just awesome. And Joel, geez, we used to spend all day on Clash. Like, I love you, brother. So I do want to give one more shout out, Grom, another guy who's helping save me from Clash Oblivion. His pointers, I mean, it's made the game fun again for me. So I think, Kat, twice in the past 12 months, I've said, I think I'm done. And each time there's been something like a Grom thing has happened where, oh, look, I can actually hit bases with competence again. So yeah, there's a lot of people keeping me going, and
It's a full-time job.
Not to mention the environment and culture you've put in place at Red Thorn Cat. So that's it for me.
That's it. Awesome. Well, thank you. Also, I'm going to shout out both of you, Beer and Joel, for coming on the show. It was a little bit of a job to get us all together, but we finally made it. So thank you very much for agreeing to come on. And a shout out to my friends C Note and Trample Damage for helping to organize the Town Hall 9 event that we just did. Yes, make Town Hall 9 great again. It was a lot of fun.
Long live Town Hall 9.
Yeah, exactly. TH9 forever. And a big shout out to all my people at Red Thorn. We just finished CWL, SECWL, and Red Thorn promoted to Champs too. So got a shout out everybody over there. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
AYS keeps coming in second place at Champs 3. We were like 4 months in a row second place. So shout out the Red Thorn guys for getting into Champs 2. I'm now jealous, Kat. You did it.
It was a long time coming, let me tell you.
If for some reason I don't think it's an immediate thing, and I don't have any thinking this is going to happen, but if we went to Champs 1, I don't think Red Thorn should ever do CWL again. Just like retire at Champs 1.
Exactly. Okay, thank you everybody for listening. The CFF is a family of clans who love to play various games such as Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, among others. You can send questions or comments to us on Twitter at RedThornCOC. To get more information on our clans, events, and podcasts, join the CFF Discord at discord.gg/clashpals.